Here we go.
All right. I just started it. Okay, so here we go. Welcome, everyone. It's St. Patrick's Day, and we're here at the Growth Mindset COAAP PD Rollout. And my supervisors, Megan Carroll and Alejandra Salcedo, would like to share a few words with you. Megan, take it away, please.
Sure. So good morning, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. May the luck of the Irish be with you today and always. And I'm Irish, so I hope that you will indulge me with a little Irish blessing. May good luck be with you wherever you go, and your blessings outnumber the shamrocks that grow. May your days be many and your troubles be few. May all blessings descend upon you. May peace be within you. May your heart be strong. May you find what you're seeking wherever you roam. So I hope you enjoyed that, and it seems appropriate on a day that we're going to be talking about and spreading joy and wellness. So thank you, everybody, for coming and pivoting to this online meeting. We had hoped to do this meeting in person, but we were not able to, so thank you for that pivot. We are really excited today to introduce a new COAAP as a collaboration between the PPTAs and the ESL Pathway Advisors. And this is a different kind of COAAP. It focuses on a part of the educational process that sometimes gets overlooked. We're calling it now, the buzzword of social learning. But in my day, this is going to date me, I was trained in ESL to be mindful of what was called the affective filter. And in other words, like the emotional state of the student and how it influences their experience and their ability to learn. Teachers were trained on how to lower that affective filter. Anybody remember those days? Can you give me a thumbs up or a high five if you remember, or maybe we still talk that way. So this is kind of in the same spirit, right? It seems like we've come a long way since then, and we're now talking about joy and wellness, right? And how lucky are we to be able to spread joy and wellness to our teachers and our students. It's a privilege. And I just want to start out by saying thank you for your efforts to share this knowledge and instructional tool with your teachers and students. Because of you, students will be able to build their confidence in their abilities, learn how to approach obstacles that might be in their path, develop strategies for success, and get the encouragement that they need to overcome those daily struggles that we all are so aware of, and the barriers that they face. So with that, I'd like to pass it to Alejandra. There's a lot to cover today, so hold on to your seats. And again, may the luck of the Irish be with you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I really appreciate, we all appreciate, and a lot of you have supported this effort from the very beginning. So we are very lucky to have you today in a lucky day. And go Celtics, I'm wearing my Celtics jacket. Yay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alejandra. Let's start with a little inclusion activity. What is growth mindset? Okay, take a minute to think about it and type your ideas in the chat. I gave you a couple of leading sentences you might start with. Growth mindset means, a growth mindset is, a person with growth mindset believes. Go ahead, think about it for a minute, and then when I say go, you're going to hit the enter or return button depending on the computer operating system you're using. Okay, so you have 1 minute to write 1 or 2 sentences. Okay,
He's saying okay, like 80% down. It's still annoying. I'm so.
The enthusiasm Alejandra talked about has already manifested. She's first to post. Isn't that awesome?
Not being able to, not being afraid to make mistakes. I like
Okay,
that.
so don't wait for me to say go. Everybody just follow
Here they
Julie
come.
Cross and Alejandra. Whoa,
Wow. I see a lot of the ones about mistakes. I like that.
Please do on this
Allowing for mistakes.
way.
learning new things, challenges, not afraid to make mistakes.
Try
Wow.
what they're doing, like every.
Not there yet, Alejandro.
Not a good combo. I
Wow.
It's not hard.
Learning.
Lightning educational way, but it's just to, I think,
Open to new ideas.
So I just want to congratulate everyone. Everything you're saying here are themes that are in our COAAP. So that's awesome. Okay. So the Growth Mindset COAAP. What's new? The Yale Civics Growth Mindset COAAP is the first in the social and emotional learning series, Civic Objective 55. And it's one that we wrote in collaboration with CASAS. That's on the CASAS website now, available for any school district across the state to adapt and write their own materials. This project aligns with the joy and wellness pillar in LAUSD's strategic plan, the goal of which is to improve student engagement, outcomes, resilience, and persistence. The development has been a collaboration between CASAS, central office, teachers like Natalie Panicia at North Valley ARC, who unfortunately can't be here today, teacher advisors like Eric Weiss, my buddy from AFOC, Julie Cross from AVA, and Gunhei O from the ITTA at the LA Tech. And one of our very own day students, my former student, Melissa Escobar, who embodies the growth mindset. The entire COAAP's lesson structure is centered around Melissa's experience coming to the US, striving to adapt, overcoming challenges, discovering her love for learning, and thriving as she pursues her academic and career goals. As you know, these are concepts. Therefore, it could be very abstract for our students. But with Melissa's personal journey, she offers our students the vicarious experience of the growth mindset concept, what it means, and how it can produce positive outcomes in their lives. Okay, so with that in mind, I want to pass the baton to my esteemed colleague here at Central Office, Dave Coleman, who would like to share a few words about instruction before we get into the COAAP. Dave, take it away.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you everyone who's gone before. Very excited about this COAAP, and I just want to take a moment to re-message some thoughts, some desires, and some goals that we've talked about prior to today, just to keep us on track and to connect us, as you can see on the screen, with the big picture. We know that our division is really focused on learner persistence for greater outcomes. Having our students come in great numbers, stick around, and have great experiences so they learn and have great outcomes. And there's two key things I just want to re-message to you. You can see teacher grading and integrated instruction. We know that with teacher grading, with teachers being at the heart of the instruction and assessment, which drives instruction, and knowing how our students are doing when they take assessments after instruction, we get really increased target instruction. So if I'm grading my students, we know that I'm going to know what's really going on and I can target because I've seen the data, I've seen my student work, right? And because I'm targeting my instruction better to the real needs versus just aiming for the middle or just taking a guess, I'm going to have better learning outcomes. my students are going to do better, right? So that's teacher grading, and that's something we really want to continue to encourage and promote at our schools. And you guys are doing amazing work in that, as we saw at the last Advisor Summit. And then the other piece is integrated instruction. Well, what is integrated instruction? It means, and integrated assessment, I should say. It means that these COAAPs and CASAs and any of the standardized assessments used are not this other. They're not a disturbance, an annoyance that injects itself into our teaching. What I'm trying to do with my students here. No, they are integrated. So when we tell teachers in advance so they can do their long-term planning, knowing what the COAAPs are and when they're going to be, they can align them with the textbook units or their topics that are important to their students and them. And so it's all aligned. We know that we learn better when things all are hanging on the same hook. So if I'm talking about health and safety, if I'm talking about growth mindset, I am having an assessment that reflects that, and all our work is surrounded around that, and it goes to a deeper learning place. It sticks, we remember it, and we can have, like I see on the bottom two bullets, better learning, but also we're able to communicate. If we know what we're doing in advance, we can tell students, we can write it on the board, we can put it in our digital syllabus, wherever, in our remind comments, we can tell, hey, 4 weeks to COAAP, 3 weeks to COAAP, 2 weeks to COAAP, 5 days to COAAP, 2 weeks, days to COAAP. So we are respecting our busy adults so they know what's coming, they can prepare for it. And of course, when we're communicating well, they're going to be there and they're going to get those learning gains. So just a reminder of things we already know. If you can continue to message this to teachers, start with why and remind them of these important realities, we'll have better outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. If Dave and I seem like we're talking faster than normal, is because we are. Look at this agenda. We have a lot going on today, and so Dave and I are talking really fast. And feel free to raise your hand and ask us a question. But we're probably going to give you the short answer because we have to get through all of this content. Okay. So Dave has just finished speaking, and now I'm going to go through the task rubric for you for beginning low and beginning high, and I'm going to go through the entire beginning high course on paper. Hey, we have a Schoology version, and we have a paper version because you've asked for it. When I talked about our project back in December, a lot of hands went up. Can we have a paper version? And so we're meeting your needs to support your students. Okay. And this is going to be an abbreviated overview of the lessons, again, centered around Melissa's experience. But what we're really going to target is the task, because obviously it's a COAAP, right? We want our students to pass the task assessments. And I'm going to spend more time putting out the activities that are embedded in the lessons that support your students' learning and achievement in the task assessments. Okay. So we're going to have a breakout. We're going to have a 5-minute break, and then we're going to do the same thing for the intermediate high to advanced course. Okay, and you can see how they're different in levels and what the different tasks are. Okay, and this Gunhei is going to give you a brief overview of the advantages of using the Schoology version. Okay, so let's go look at the COAAP. This is a brand new civic objective 55. The growth mindset is 55.1. The rest of the series will follow, numerically 55.2, 3, etc. Dave says this is instruction, and he's right, because the language and literacy objectives are here. It's not just a midterm test to see where your students are at. This is a course. There are language and literacy objectives and assessments. Okay, you'll see these objectives in the course. So I'm just going to go right ahead and look at task number 1. This is task 1, and it's for beginning low and beginning high. Okay. I'd like to get a volunteer to read this task description. Julie Cross. How about Julie?
Okay, fine. Student will view 2 series of pictures or read 2 level appropriate agency created scenarios about individuals with growth mindset. Student will identify the growth mindset attributes embodied by the individual in each series of pictures or scenario in words, phrases, or sentences. Sample responses: optimistic, ask for help, he can learn new skills.
Okay, so students will read a scenario in our case, and then they're going to write about it. And CASAS and we understand that our beginning low students might not be able to produce an entire sentence. So they will be given points for answering with one word or a phrase. And the point system is here. It's easy to understand. So we won't go into it in depth today, but it's something you could always ask me about if there are questions through email, phone call, or we could meet on Zoom. Okay, so task 1 and task 2 are both for beginning low and beginning high students only. Okay, so the task 2 description is here. Bob Proctor, would you mind reading this?
Okay. The description for task 2 is responding to mistakes with a growth mindset. Student will read up to 6, beginning those 4 and beginning high as 6, common mistakes made at school, work, or in personal life, and write growth mindset responses to each one with phrases or sentences.
Do you want to read a few examples?
Yeah. Okay. So the BL sample mistake: I can't finish all the work on time, and then a growth mindset response: ask for help. A beginning high sample: I wrote the wrong address on the school's registration form. A response: I will be more careful next time.
Okay, so many of you said in the chat, growth mindset means learning from mistakes, right? And that's one of the task descriptions for the beginning low students. Okay, so I'm gonna go look at the course on PDF right now and share that with you. So the course is on Schoology. We have a PDF version that reprographics and teachers can print from. This is what it looks like. This is the beginning high version, table of contents with the lessons, and these are the objectives from the rubric, right on the table of contents. Okay, and so the rubric is not to be distributed to your students. If your students are comfortable using computers, have them use Schoology. Okay, the rubric is for the teachers that they can project onto the screen. They have media links that will help you facilitate your presentation. Okay, so here we have lesson number 1. Every lesson begins with a simple vocabulary exercise. And this is the introduction. And if you're not going to make any notes today, that's fine, okay, because it's pretty simple to understand, but this is what I would like you to remember and share with all your teachers and colleagues, okay? The key to all of these courses is to memorize the definition, how we interpret growth mindset for our students, and it's right here at the introduction, and it's very simple. If you see this, can you see this icon here? It's a link to an audio file, okay? And it allows our students to read along with it, okay? I'm just gonna click on this.
Repeat after me. Your intelligence can grow. You can learn anything.
Okay, we don't need to hear the whole thing, but it's a very simple definition, and it appears center at every level, beginning low, beginning high, intermediate low, intermediate high to advanced. And this is what we want our students to know at every level, and it's going to help them pass the task assessments, okay? So growth mindset means your intelligence can grow, you can learn anything, you can develop new skills, challenges are opportunities, you aren't afraid to try, you are optimistic. Okay? Here's a matching exercise and our introduction to our main character, Melissa. And if the student receives this lesson on paper, this QR code will launch the video on their phones. If the teacher is projecting this on the screen, the teacher can simply click the picture or the icon to launch the video. So I have to change to the my full screen to the Google Chrome because that's what the video is launched in. So here's the first video.
My name is Melissa Escobar. I'm from El Salvador. I came to Los Angeles just before the pandemic and enrolled at Jersey High School. When the pandemic happened, I didn't have a computer and internet connection. I couldn't continue studying at home. I felt sad and lost. I couldn't English. I didn't have any friends. Was isolated at home and depressed for a long time. Until one day, I told myself that I couldn't be self-led. It will be a long time because I'm young. I remember why I came from the United States for the opportunities to learn and grow. I can't be afraid. I have to try. This was the challenge. I found a course to change my thinking and I started attending classes at Avon Freeman Occupational Center. Coming to school, studying, and developing new skills makes me feel better, optimistic about my future.
So our protagonist in this adventure is introduced, and she has just articulated so many of the challenges that our students face coming here and adapting, right? So now we're going to go to, that was lesson 1. Okay, now we're going to go to lesson 2. Lesson 2, you can see the objective here is identify advantages of applying a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And you cannot talk about growth mindset without talking about its opposite, the fixed mindset, right? So this is a sorting exercise where students compare and contrast the difference. And I'm just giving you a very short sample here. At the bottom, you see 2 sentences. The activity is obviously much more elaborate. So look at number 1. Mr. De Loera, can I have you read? Can you see number 1? Would you mind reading that?
Sure. I'm afraid to speak English at work because my pronunciation is bad.
So what do we think? Is that growth mindset or fixed mindset?
Fixed.
Fixed.
That's right. So the student will write that on this column, right? Look at number 2. Mr. Alejandro Alcaraz, my colleague and friend from AFOC. Could you read number 2? Can you see that, first of all?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Hector's English is not perfect, but he speaks with American people every day. So that will be growth mindset.
Excellent. Okay, so there's a number of exercises in this manner, and I'm not going to show all of them to you right now. So, but we're going to progress to Melissa talking about her growth mindset experience. Okay. Again, allow me to switch my share screen to Google Chrome, and we're gonna.
In school, I knew to use the computer, but I thought I would never learn. Typing was difficult and frustrating. My fingers didn't cooperate, but I didn't quit. I kept practicing every day, and now I can type. My digital skills have helped me with my studies. I can research on the internet and learn online continue every day. To support myself, I work as a housekeeper on the weekends. Studying and working is not easy, but I have to pay money for college. The university is not cheap. I don't want to rely on other people. I'm independent and responsible. I can do any career I focus on. I want to be a veterinarian and animal doctor.
Okay, I think I skipped the after the last video. I forgot to mention that I hope you saw that after the video there are comprehension questions, right? This is beginning low, so there were after the video there are a series of multiple choice questions that they answer from. Okay, so that's Melissa's growth mindset, right? She couldn't type, but she didn't give up. Right? She practiced every day, and now she's learning a lot from the internet, and her digital skills has opened up a lot of opportunities for her. So lesson 3, describe how past choices and actions have led to current successes and identify challenges as opportunities. A number of you put challenges and opportunities in the chat when we asked at the beginning of the session, what is growth mindset? Okay, so this is a simple conversation. Highlighted, color-coded are some fears, challenges, and positive outcomes. And the message to our students is that, hey, all of us, when we consider a challenge in our lives today, we might feel some fear. But if you reflect on your entire life, there were many times in the past where you had to do something, there was a challenge, but you did it, and the outcome turned out fine and even extremely well in some cases, right? So here's a simple dialogue. I'm going to have the Kathy Chung. Can you play the role of Mina? And and Morasako Horn. Morasako Horn is going to be Wana. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so you want me to read Nina? Okay.
Yes.
Every time you face a challenge, you feel positive. Wana, you're amazing.
Thank you. In the past, I was afraid to try anything difficult, but I'm not afraid anymore.
Why not?
I think about the challenges I faced in the past and how they led to positive outcomes. For example, I didn't want to leave my family and friends in my country, but I came to the United States, and now I have a good job and can speak English.
Well, that's wonderful. Challenges create opportunities.
Okay, so this is a conversation I used to have with my level 6 students all the time, right? Because, you know, a lot of level 6 students, they're afraid to pass ESL because they know that's the last one. They've been with ESL for a number of years and they're comfortable with it, right? So they don't know what the challenges are in academic or ABE or CTE. But I tell them, hey, look, you didn't want to leave your family and it was scary, right? But you made the trip here and you've already won. You know, your next steps are easy, right? And that always lights a fire in their eyes, you know. And so this is a substitution conversation. I don't have the snapshot here, but you can see there's going to be audio, and it's very much like a side-by-side sort of substitution conversation, and the students can practice speaking, the beginning low students, okay? So moving on, we have our protagonist, and we're going to watch how she has handled some of the challenges in her life. Switching to Google Chrome, going full screen.
I remember when I first arrived in the US, I was scared. It was in English. When people spoke to me, I didn't respond. I didn't want to be ridiculed. Sometimes there were students who spoke Spanish, and they translate me what I had to do or what the teacher said. But in other classes, there was no one to translate. I knew that I couldn't count on other people forever. I had to learn myself. I started to pay attention, watch TV, listen to the radio, and read everything in English. I never gave up, and now I can read, write, and talk to American people. My grades in school improved a lot. When you have a challenge, that's your opportunity to get better, to make something positive. It isn't easy, but we are adults. It's a difficult thing that we have to do. Later, you feel proud and strong. Now, when I face a new challenge, I think about the difficulties that I overcame in the past to get here, and I'm confident I can do it again.
So our past successes give us confidence if we can remember them and use them, right? And did you notice that the closed captioning was accurate, right? We did that ourselves to support our students, okay? So if they need that, you can have them click the double C's, okay? So I just realized I'm behind. I need to move faster, okay? So here, lesson 4, look at this title. Respond to mistakes with a growth mindset. Does that sound familiar? Dave's
Yes.
nodding his head. What is that, Dave? That's task 2. So this is the second time I'm going to tell you to make a note, right? The first one was to have your teachers and students remember the definition in the introduction. And now remember that lesson 4 supports tasks 2, respond to mistakes with a growth mindset. So look at number 1. My email had mistakes. My boss was not happy. They're going to choose the fixed mindset or the growth mindset response. It starts out that simply. Okay, just identifying what is the growth mindset response to this mistake. They're going to choose B, I will be more careful next time. Social said chicken when she met kitchen. The students laughed. What's the correct answer? Social will practice her pronunciation, right? So starts out very simply by identifying the positive growth mindset response. Now, there are mistakes. And that's what these sentences represent in the task, okay? I didn't cut the vegetables correctly at work. They have to unscramble these words to write the complete sentence. So now we're giving them practice in sequencing the words, right? Subject, verb, predicate, okay? I will practice. We didn't understand the machine's instructions and couldn't do the job right. We will ask for help next time. Okay, there's a little typo here. We're going to work on proofreading. I didn't wash the dishes properly. I will do it again. Okay, so identify the growth mindset response. Now work on sentence syntax, unscramble the words to write the complete sentence. And now they're going to read a mistake and write the response. And this is exactly what the task will look like. Bob's going to share that with you in your breakout group in a minute, okay? So what are the options? I will ask for help. I will try harder next time. I will practice. I will do it again. I will be more careful next time. And I want you to know that these are all interchangeable. If I say I couldn't send the document by email, if the student writes, I will ask for help, that works, right? I will practice, that works. I will do it again. I will be more careful next time. They're almost all interchangeable. So we're making it easy for our students, okay, because they know generating the language is the challenge, right? But helping them understand the concepts is also important, okay? So learn from mistakes. So many of you wrote that in the chat, okay? That's awesome, okay? And that's a main feature of growth mindset. So now we're gonna watch as Melissa learns from her mistakes, okay?
The biggest mistake in my life was that I didn't believe in myself. I was a shy person and I didn't ask anyone for help. It affected me mentally. I was negative. I always say, I can do it. Over time, I learned not to be so critical of myself and my confidence slowly grew. As I studied and began to do well at school, I started to believe in myself, to love myself. I discovered self-esteem. And now I know I can do anything I set out to do in my life. Nothing is impossible. Learning from your mistake is not easy. It's painful. It really hurts, but you have no other choice. That's how you grow.
All right, that's great. Okay, so moving on, let me share my PowerPoint slides with you again. Learning from mistakes. We'll go from learning to mistakes to lesson 5, identify the growth mindset. Does that sound familiar? That was task 1. So I'm just going to ask you for the 3rd time, make a note. Lesson 5 supports task 1. Okay, so same concept, they're just going to identify the growth mindset. Okay, look at number 1. Diego believes in himself, he will reach his goal. The answer is A, he has a growth mindset, right? So we're starting out step by step, okay? The next one follows in the same pattern. They're going to read the statement and unscramble the words to write the sentence, to practice writing the sentence. Because remember, in the task 1 and 2, the students are asked to write a sentence, okay? So they're going to unscramble these words. Oscar applied for a new job. He has a growth mindset. Omar tries to learn something new every day. His intelligence can grow. And now the same sort of activity. Here are some examples of growth mindset. If you look at these are the sentences from the definition, right? His intelligence can grow. She can learn anything. She can develop new skills. She isn't afraid to try. Challenges or opportunities. She is optimistic. These are the definition words, okay? And let me just point out something that here, Byron started a painting class. Which one of these should the student write? Anybody can answer. Chris Shaw, what do you think?
The third one?
The one. Oh, okay. I'll put up YouTube, Chris. The feedback is insane. Okay, so Julie Cross, what do you think?
He is optimistic.
Okay, so this is great. Chris said optimistic. Some of you might be thinking she can learn, right? Or somebody might think he can develop a new skills. So the message is all of you are correct because this is subjective. These are concepts. These are ideas. So all the teachers need to understand this, okay? Just as with the learn from mistakes, the various options are interchangeable. The exact applies here because these are perspectives. Okay, for example, if look at number 2, after she finishes ESL, Joanna will study for her cosmetology license. If I think cosmetology is a daunting subject, I might write, she isn't afraid to try. If I think, wow, cosmetology, she's going to be making some money because that's a real career, big tips and all of that, right? I might write challenges or opportunities, right? If I'm stuck at home, you know, with a, you know, because I lost my job in the pandemic, you know, and Joanna's out there studying getting her cosmetology license. Wow, she is optimistic. Okay, so I hope you understand that we're just talking about concepts, and people can come to it with perspective. So when you're grading, when you're telling your teachers to score these activities, keep that in mind. These are interchangeable, okay? So this is a direct practice. The next thing is a story. This is what they're going to do in the task. They're going to read a short scenario. It's going to be a lot shorter than this. And then they're going to write those sentences about this person, Min. Okay, so we won't do that right now because we need to move on. But this is a culmination of this practice for the task 1 assessment. Okay, students read a scenario and write a few sentences. They beginning low only has to write 2, beginning high has to write 3. Okay, so now the very last video is this one, and we're going to watch this about Melissa. Oh, I have to allow me to switch to Chrome right now.
I used to feel lost in Los Angeles. Now I know where I'm going. The library is one of my favorite places. There's so much knowledge on the shelf: history, art, science. I love books. I love to read. I learn so much. This is a beautiful place where I can study. I can concentrate. I'm proud of myself. I finished the ESL program at Abraham Fleming Occupational Center, and I started the academic program to get my high school diploma. I plan to go to university. My goal is to be a veterinarian. I love animals. They make me happy, like people. Animals need healthcare and love. My intelligence is growing every day. I can learn anything I need to. I can develop new skills. Every challenge is an opportunity. I'm not afraid to try. I learn from mistakes and get better. I'm optimistic. My name is Melissa Escobar, and I have a growth mindset. I used to feel lost in Los Angeles. Now I know where I'm going. Yay.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. That's Melissa's growth mindset. The previous scenario was about I just, so Alejandra came to my cubicle and told me that she couldn't hear the music. Is that right? Were you able to?
Just the last part. It's okay.
Just the last sentence, yeah.
Oh, okay, but the rest of it was fine?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No music.
Oh, there was no music. Okay, so
You couldn't really hear it, yeah.
It's okay.
Okay, all right. So here we learned about this character's growth mindset that the students are going to write about. Melissa talked about her growth mindset. Now it's our students to talk about theirs. We have a list of aspirations here that are very common to our students, right? Learn to speak English is first and foremost. Learn computers, go to the interview, get a good job, and students will check off their aspirations here and write these sentences, right? I'm not afraid to talk to my child's teacher. I can ask for a salary raise, and that's the beginning high course. Okay, so now Bob is going to share a breakout room activity with you. Bob, take it over.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, aren't those videos great? And yeah, our Zoom doesn't really do them justice. But when you watch them on, with the good sound, they're beautiful. So what we're going to do is take a deeper dive into just tasks 1 and 2, but we're going to have task 2 first and then task 1. So I'm going to give you a link to the handout that we're going to be using for this entire session. The handout also includes the task 3. I'm sorry, task 4. We're not going to look at task 3, which is writing a paragraph, or actually 3 paragraphs, just due to our time constraints. So
Yes,
let me give you the link. Okay, so okay, so in the chat, I put a link, and this is to a handout that we're going to be looking at. And I'll share my screen so you can see it. Okay. So in the chat, hopefully you can, it's in the Google Drive. You might need to make a copy. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. This is what you're going to be using in your breakout rooms. I'm going to give you a quick overview. So we're doing task 2 first, and I put some target pictures. So the target is the task, and this is the target language we need to complete task 2. And if you remember, task 2 was responding to mistakes with a growth mindset. Okay. If you scroll down, task 2 is actually 2 pages. So there's the beginning low version and the beginning high. So if you see this little blue icon with the target, you know you're in the right spot. This is for task 2. Then attached is the supports. So you see the little arrows. This is the arrows that are going to hit that target. And the arrows represent the language that the student will need that directly supports task 2. And Paul pointed out in these little boxes, this is what the students and the teachers are going to really key on. Okay. But I want to keep continuing down and show you. Now you have green. This is now task 1. So the green with the target is for task 1. So this is task 1. This is where you're just identifying the growth mindset. So this is the bigger picture idea. Task 2 is very specific for responding to mistakes. And then the arrows represent the support, the direct language that directly supports that task. Okay. So first, let me check to make sure that everybody was able to get that document. Does everyone have that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to go into your breakout rooms. We have 47 people.
Hi, good morning, guy. Welcome. Come on in.
Let's
Come on in.
do groups of 4.
How can I help you? ¿Cómo le puedo ayudar?
Mute. Somebody mute.
¿Con qué?
Mute, please. Okay. We're going to have 10 breakout rooms. There will be 4 or 5 of you. What you're looking for are
Bob, can you please unmute?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go into breakout rooms of 4 or 5 people. You have that document, and what you're looking for are what are your strategies that teachers can use to directly support those 2 tasks. We're only looking at task 1 and 2. And actually, they're in the order of 2 and 1. Okay. Do you guys have any questions before we go to the breakout rooms?
She's in the high-tech group now with the all online learning, the nation's first all online adult school. Julie Cross is going to share our intermediate high to advanced rubric and course. Take it away, Julie.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to go over the tasks for the upper level. Let me turn on my slideshow here because I did animation like a fancy person. Task 3. So the task 3 is a writing task. We're going to write about growth mindset. Can somebody read this for me?
I can.
Go for it.
I can't. I need to unmute. Am I muted or no?
You're not.
Wonderful. Write about growth mindset. Given an agency-created scenario describing an individual with a growth mindset, students will write a paragraph or paragraphs describing 3 elements of growth mindset, such as identify the growth mindset characteristics the individual is exhibiting, describe the actions the person is taking, which demonstrate the characteristic, identify the impact growth mindset will have on the individual's potential.
Thank you, Maura. All right. So all that is a mouthful, but it gets a little easier when you look at the sample questions for the student. Which growth mindset characteristics does the person have? That's how you identify the growth mindset characteristics. What are some examples of the person's growth mindset, and how will the person's growth mindset benefit them? So this is task 4. Task 4 is more speaking, give growth mindset advice. Maura, you want to read again? You've got such a great voice.
Thanks. It's the Irish in me, you know.
Yeah.
Give growth mindset advice. Given a level appropriate scenario of a friend having difficulty navigating school, work, or personal challenges, student in role of confidant will participate in a role play in which student offers assessor in the role of friend in need of help up to 4 pieces of growth mindset based advice, such as.
Okay, so let's look at what they're going to offer here. Describe how growth mindset will help a friend realize his or her potential. Explain how challenges or opportunities. Describe how past choices and actions have led to current successes. And explain how mistakes are opportunities to learn and improve. So we, again, to support these tasks, did basically the same format as the beginning and beginning high, but we expanded the definitions to be a little more dense and appropriate for higher level students. So here we've got growth mindset means your intelligence can grow, but then we continue. Science shows us that our brains continue to make new connections throughout adulthood. If we stop learning, we stop growing. And
Julie, I just
yeah.
want to mention that Julie is demonstrating the advanced course now. Okay, Julie, continue.
Sure, if I didn't say that, or people just came in. Here's another example. You can learn anything if you put effort into it. And then we just continued here. When we do our best with an open mind, we experience the benefits of a growth mindset, allowing us to learn new languages, skills, ideas, business practices, and many other things. Don't put limits on yourself. If you want to learn something, go for it. Again, we have comprehension questions, a little more complicated than the beginning level. Growth mindset means your intelligence can grow, is the opposite of fixed mindset, means you're not pessimistic, or all of the above. I won't go through all of these because we don't really have time, but again, the comprehension questions after the definitions. And then for some of these examples where you pick, for example, growth mindset versus fixed mindset, the things that get a bit more advanced in this level are that this is a whole paragraph about one student. So rather than 2 different students, hey, this one has a fixed mindset, this one has a growth mindset. This is all about Andrea, who sometimes has a fixed mindset and sometimes has a growth mindset. So she started to study in her English class. She was nervous and afraid to speak because she wanted her English to sound perfect. So what goes here? Fixed or growth mindset? The students are going to write, we hope, fixed right there. But then after a few days, Andrea finally spoke and made a mistake right away. But she thought, that's okay. I need to make mistakes to progress. So in this example, she's got more of a growth mindset. And then it goes on.
Okay, Julie,
yeah.
can I say something?
Sure.
What I've always liked about that exercise that I found extremely realistic is no one is firmly in one camp or the other, right?
Right.
You know, we go back and forth, right? With some things we have a growth mindset about, other things fixed. And it's great to be aware of that and to see a person making those daily decisions and choices about things that they need to do in their lives, experiencing that kind of a tug of war between right brain and left brain, right? So Julie, thank you so much. Continue.
Okay, thanks. So we also, of course, tried to make things more grammatically advanced. Here's, for example, learn from your mistakes. It turns into kind of a review of the unreal conditional. Omar is 16, has never used a computer. He's afraid of them. Up until now, he's avoided computers, but now he's in an ESL class and everybody uses one. So he has to get one too. That first day, Omar got so frustrated that he went home. He doesn't know whether he will return to class. I wish that I could say that these weren't real situations, but I've actually heard this from students. They just get so frustrated sometimes. So we wrote here a little example. If I were Omar, I would return to class and ask my classmates and teachers for help. And then we've got another scenario about Tony, who had to leave his English class to take care of his elderly father. And the students are going to say what they would do if they were Tony. Contextualized grammar. Thanks, Dave Coleman. All right, love the real contextualized grammar. Thank you so much. And that is really it. I'm not going to go too much more into detail because of our time constraints. So I'll just hand it back to you, Paul, or whoever's next.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. So as you can see, that was the intermediate high to advanced course. And the topics are the same as beginning low, but the language is at a much higher level. Okay. So let's go to the activities and lessons in the course that support the task 3 and task 4 assessments. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So in the upper level course, from intermediate low to advanced, lesson 5, write a paragraph identifying personal, academic, and or career challenges as opportunities. This supports task 3. So I'm just going to ask you for like maybe the 3rd or 4th time, make a note of this. Okay, in the upper level courses, lesson 5 supports successful achievement of task 3, right? Which was write a paragraph, right? And look how we start. We review the growth mindset characteristics. Look, this is the definition. Remember, I mentioned that the definition is key to understanding this course and succeeding in the task regardless of the level. Growth mindset means your intelligence can grow, you can learn anything, you can develop new skills. The exact same set of definitions that the beginning low students have to know. And so there's a group activity. The first one is a group activity, and this mirrors the exact task 3 activity, write a paragraph. So, but here the students are going to work in a group. And if you look at these 3 sentences, I want to have Adrian Nichols read these 3 sentences because Adrian also has a very lovely voice.
I hope it's these ones right here by the arrow. Which growth mindset characteristics does he have? What are some examples of his growth mindset? And how will his growth mindset benefit him?
So these are the same 3 questions in the task description of the rubric, right? And we're going to talk about this guy here. His name is Alexi. Okay. So we're teaching the students to read a scenario and consider these 3 questions, to write about and respond to these 3 questions. So here's the scenario with Alexi. You know, we're not going to read the scenario because we need to go through this really fast. Okay. But I'm just explaining to you the format, and, you know, you can examine this, you know, back at your school and talk to your teachers about it. So here's the paragraph, the scenario about Alexi. And to help answer these 3 questions, students will read the scenario and we give them this brainstorm chart, this grid that's going to prepare them to write. On the left side, they're going to list the characteristics. And guess what? They're all familiar to us now, right? He can learn, he can develop new skills, challenges, or opportunities. They're all familiar to us now. Now they're going to find the corresponding example from Alexi's life. He can learn, he's studying to become a computer programmer. He can develop new skills, he's learning software design. Challenges or opportunities, he's going to get a career and make more money, and the students can, you know, fill out the last 2. Okay, so we're preparing the students to identify the characteristics and examples in the story to write the paragraph. Okay, so this is the prompt to begin, right? Start with Alexi has a growth mindset. Describe Alexis' growth mindset and characteristics and examples, end the paragraph with sentences on how his growth mindset will benefit him. And we offer a paragraph format that they can be in. They're not gonna fill in these blanks. They're gonna actually write a paragraph on a separate piece of paper, okay? And this is how we're preparing the students to write that paragraph. So after they do this group activity, there's another one that follows the same sequence of instructions, okay? This is a story about, I'm sorry, here's an example. Now we give them the example. Your group's completed paragraph should look something like this. And the students can compare their paragraphs. You can see we have the characteristic challenges as opportunities. And the example, he's going to get a career and make more money. He's not afraid to try to become a computer programmer. He's optimistic, he feels positive. So the student's paragraph obviously will not look exactly like this, but something similar, we hope, right? So after this, students will practice the same set of activities individually. And again, the actual task 3 assessment looks exactly like this. There's a simple instruction just like this. The character is Maritza. The student working individually will fill out the brainstorm chart with her characteristics and examples and write the paragraph with these questions in mind, the exact same 3 questions, okay? So they're just going to do the exact same 3 things that they did as a group with Alexi and write their paragraph. And after they do, they can review it with the rubric. And this rubric for ESL Pathway Advisors is very familiar. It's the SSS, Student Score Sheet. We have content and we break it down, comprehensibility and accuracy. Okay, so that's the task, the preparation for the task 3 assessment. Okay, we have 2 opportunities to learn, one in a group and one individually, and they all mirror the task assessment. So now we're going to go on to lesson 6, give advice using growth mindset concepts. So this prepares them for task 4, the oral assessment. Okay, so make a note of this. Lesson 6 prepares students for the task 4 oral assessment. We're going to read a story, and I want to have Janice Chow read this story. Janice, would you mind? Janice Chow from West
Not at
Valley.
all. Sure. So, Oscar's story.
Yeah.
Oscar came to the US 10 years ago with very little money. Today, after years of studying, he's finally getting his high school diploma. Now, Oscar wants to be a nurse. A career will help him earn more money for his family. He's a little unsure because nobody in his family has even finished high school. And becoming a nurse won't be easy for a working father. He just hopes he succeeds because the last time he went for career training, when he went to barbering school, he dropped out because he got distracted by friends who just wanted to party. Is that it?
Wow, they're gone.
Yeah, Claudia,
you're muted.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So in the same way that the writing practice is set up with a model, and then the individual practice, which leads to the task assessment, this preparation for the task 4 assessment is organized in the same manner. Okay, so here's the scenario, and remember, there are 4 pieces of advice that the student must give, right? And okay, ignore this typo here. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And let's just talk about the advice that the student would give. Okay, so the first one is his friend explains that Oscar has a growth mindset, citing one example from Oscar's life when Oscar has learned something. Can anyone think of what that? So, you know what? I'm just going to go right to the. We'll read these. Okay, we'll read these together. Look at number 2. Bob, can you read number 2?
Okay, number 2. His friend explains that challenges are opportunities and names one positive outcome for Oscar if he meets this challenge.
Okay, look at number 3. Crystal Mendez, could you mind reading number 3?
His friend explains that Oscar has faced challenges in the past and names one positive outcome that came as a result.
Okay, and Miguel Castro, would you mind reading number 4? It says number 3.
His friend explains to Oscar how he can learn from mistakes and respond with a growth mindset.
Okay, so these topics are all familiar, right? Growth mindset, challenges as opportunities, challenges that you faced in the past, overcoming that fear to generate a positive outcome and learn from mistakes. Okay, so this is what the practice conversation looks like. Okay, can it? I know this text is small because I'm trying to fit that whole conversation into this this one slide. Is all this text visible for you? Can someone give me a thumbs up?
Yeah, it is. And
all-
if you click on slideshow at the top left and show that slideshow version at the top left, and you're just, yeah, about the 5th word over, you can show, keep going to your right, slideshow, it's in black letters. Anyway, you can show the whole full screen. It's okay. It's good enough.
Is that
There
better?
it is. There it is.
Okay, so Dave has a good voice. I think Dave could be Oscar, and
Who's my partner?
how about Ghana is the friend. Ghana has always been my good friend.
Right on.
She's
Okay.
everyone's friend.
You ready, Ghana? Here we go. I don't know if I can study the years it takes to be a nurse. I'm not intelligent enough.
I'm not sure if Ghana's there. How about Melissa Perez from okay, maybe
I need a friend.
maybe they're still on break.
Dave doesn't have any friends.
Let's go to the reliable Mora Sakakorn. Okay, always reliable.
Dave, you have a growth mindset. Your intelligence can grow. You finished the ESL program and got your high school diploma. You can always learn and develop new skills.
Oh, thanks, Mara. After I graduate from nursing school, I still need to get the exam to get the license. It's too much of a challenge.
Challenges are opportunities. As a nurse, you will have a career you're proud of and earn more money for your family.
Ah, true. I know, but every day I have to work, take care of my family, and study. When I think about all these challenges, I'm afraid.
You've faced bigger challenges in the past. You came to the US with nothing. Now you have a family, a job, and an opportunity to study to be a nurse. No one in your family even finished high school. You did.
I don't know. Last time I tried barbering, I dropped out. It was a big mistake.
What did you learn? You got distracted by friends who weren't serious. This time you will be disciplined and focused.
Maybe you're right.
Of course I'm right. You have a growth mindset. You can do this.
Thank you, my friend.
Okay, so what's going on here? Look at these the part of the dialogue that's highlighted in bold black. Okay, that is a cue. When Oscar says, "I'm not intelligent," you're going to say something about growth mindset. Along those lines, right? You have a growth mindset. Your intelligence can grow. You can always learn. And cite one example. You finished the ESL program and got your high school diploma, right? So here, it's too much of a challenge. So what is the mantra? Challenges are opportunities, right? And you're going to cite one positive outcome if Oscar follows through on this goal, right? So you're going to say, hey, challenges are opportunities. As a nurse, you'll have a career you're proud of and earn more money for your family. And look at this cue here. When I think about all these challenges, I'm afraid. So what have we learned in the course, right? Reflect on your past successes to get the courage to face your current and future challenges, right? So you can say, hey, you faced bigger challenges in the past and cite an example. You came to the US with nothing. Now you have a family, a job, and an opportunity to study to be a nurse. No one in your family even finished high school, okay? So again, it was a big mistake. This is a cue, right? To say, what did you learn? You could basically, the students are going to say anything they want, right? Learn from your mistakes. This time you will be disciplined and focused, right? So this is the planning, the strategy behind this lesson. Obviously, students are not going to follow this as scripted, and that's fine. We're going to apply the holistic grading strategy to this, okay? So when you're doing this assessment with your students, and they're going to just be responding, in a free-form manner, you're going to listen for those 4 competencies that we would like them to comment on, okay? And you're going to grade them accordingly in that manner, okay? They're not going to follow the script. As much as we've tried to create these cues and set them up for success and have repeated practices, they're going to do their own thing in most cases. And so we're going to apply the holistic grading approach. Okay, so keep that in mind, okay? All right. So let me try to advance. So now we have an opportunity to practice with Delmi. This is her story, okay? And these are the warm-up questions, the pre-dialogue questions that students need to consider. What did Delmi learn in the past that shows she has a growth mindset, right? With Oscar, he finished ESL and graduated from high school, right? What positive outcome? Oh, what is one positive outcome if Delmi opens her own business? She'll get more money. She'll be in control of her own affairs. What challenge did Delmi face in the past that was just as difficult, and what was the outcome? What mistake did she make in the past? What can she learn to do this differently? So all these scenarios are written in the same style and format. The cues, the clues, the story elements are all in that little scenario, okay? Because we're running, and then students will practice in pairs. My partner, Adrian Nichols, and I will listen to Bob and Elizabeth Cantu do their conversation, and we're going to go through the rubric to see how they did, okay, and then share with the other students, okay? So that's the practice, right? There was the model with Oscar, now there's a practice with Delmi, and now it's your turn. Bob's going to share the actual scenario for this task 4. The character is Tatiana, and he's going to give you the dialogue, but there are no prompts in the dialogue. It is at this point that we hope that the students can pick up on the cues, intelligence, challenges as opportunities, fears, and mistakes, and be able to respond. Okay, so Bob, take it away.
Yeah, so like he said, there are no prompts, so the dialogue can be challenging, but remember this task 4, the dialogue, is only for intermediate low through intermediate high and advanced. So if you guys can pull up your documents that we shared, the handout, I'm having trouble finding mine. Where is it? I have the link. I can just, let's see. Well, let me show you. I want to share with you 2 things really quickly. Oh, good. Dave's got it. Yay. Okay. Thank you, Dave. So we're scrolling down to the last part. There we go. So the pink target, that is task 4. Okay. So this is task 4. And again, we're going to go into the breakout rooms and we're just focusing on task 4. This, yeah, there's lots of different strategies we can think of doing with our students, with our classes. But the main thing is I want you guys to just go through it yourselves. We did it here together, but it's better when you're doing it in a small group.
Bob, can you show them where the scenario is in that?
So Dave, can you scroll down?
Okay, so
There.
colleagues, you're going to read that story, Tatiana's story.
Tatiana's story.
And you're Tatiana's friend. So when you read, think about what she has learned, what she has accomplished, what are her fears, what are the opportunities, if for the benefits if she seizes this opportunity, what mistakes has she made in the past, and make a recommendation for growth. Okay? Okay, so read Tatiana's story, and practice that conversation with your friend. If you're listening to your partner's practice, you're going to notice that they're not answering like our students. They won't be answering the conversation, as planned, and that's okay. See if they nail the 4 competencies, though. That's how we're going to grade, and let your teachers know that when you provide the training, okay, that no one is going to follow this script in lockstep, okay? But we do want to hear the 4 competencies, though. Okay, so Bob, thank you. Good luck.
Okay, so we're going to go into the breakout rooms, and I want you guys to know we will have a Jamboard document to archive our notes and our ideas and strategies, but we're not going to do that right now. It gets too cluttered. I want you guys to just take time with it, read it with each other in your breakout rooms, okay? But don't worry, we will have, and actually we're going to share our new Schoology group that's dedicated to this, and this is where we can archive all these resources for you. So we're going to go back into the same breakout rooms. Here we go.
Okay.
We'll put all of these resources in it. Okay.
So who wants to share their experience doing the dialogue, the oral assessment? Anyone? I witnessed Janice Chow and Maura Sakakorn. Janice was Tatiana, Maura Sakakorn was the good friend with the awesome advice. And the first time it was a little bit bumpy, but they got through it fine. I would have passed them. Okay. The second time, Maura was Tatiana and Alejandro Alcaraz was the friend, and they nailed it. So just 2 times. So remember, in the lesson, we have the whole conversation with the story modeled with Oscar. We had a second practice with Delmi, and students will not only just practice that Oscar conversation once, but they're going to practice it multiple times with their classmates, right? And then they'll do the Delmi one where they're open to interpret the conversation, and they'll do that multiple times, okay? And by the time they get to the actual task, I think they will be really warmed up and know what to listen for and what to offer. Janice had a great strategy for preparing the students. Janet, you want to share that?
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking a way to focus them beforehand, before they actually do the dialogue, is to do sort of their own prompt script. Even though prompts aren't provided, they could actually create it ahead of time, have a column of the challenges on the in bold that she was facing, and then the response on the bright side. So then they'd have that as kind of a guide to improvise from in the dialogue.
And Paul, can I mention?
I love that.
That's perfect, Janice. The 2 groups I visited, actually 3 groups, they all mention the same thing for this, is that what they've created here is like an opportunity for mantras, affirmations. You're learning these things. And if you're a student, it's almost the first time you've even had this kind of growth mindset idea. And so the first step is kind of just daily affirmation, making these posters in your classrooms, having them go over, and then they're faking it till they make it. And then like the upper levels will be able to do is start expanding and adding on their own versions depending on their scenarios. And Dave has his hand raised.
Yeah, I just, Manuel Cota brought up a really good question, because we were doing well, 2 things. First of all, let me go back and say, I love, Paul, that multiple opportunities. We can't just cram this at the last minute. Teachers can't say, oh, I'm going to just throw this at them and we'll just do it because it's getting in the way of my instruction. No. That philosophy ain't going to work. It's really rooted in good language skill building, and it could be talking about growth mindset, it could be talking about health, safety, whatever. But those skills of focused listening, finding the main idea, responding, using complete sentences, all that good stuff. It applies to whatever. So we need to really have that message of integrate, plan, give time to this. The other thing was that Manuel brought up the question, well, what if students don't answer, respond very specifically to the 4 different bold things? What do we do about that? And so I wanted to see if you would share a little bit more about that, Manuel, if there's time, Paul. What did we talk about, or what stayed with him from our experience? Are you there, Manuel?
Yes. I was just curious because the dialogue that we were provided was, well, it was perfect. It was a perfect dialogue for us to respond and give advice to. But what if, like Dave said, the student isn't as specific as the dialogue you provided? What do we do then?
Okay. Also, Manuel, we understand that. So we wrote it in a very structured way. But before, we went into the breakout rooms, I think I mentioned, right, that it's likely that your students are not going to follow our script as much as we've structured it, but you're going to listen. Excuse me. The teacher, tell your teachers that when they give that assessment, they're going to be listening for those 4 competencies. And obviously the students are going to deliver them out of order, but hopefully at this point in the COAAP, after they've gone through all our lessons, that they'll be able to at least produce the 4 responses in some manner. Does that make sense? And we're using Dave's holistic approach to grading. We're just listening for content, comprehensibility, and accuracy. Okay. Kathy, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to add to what Dave was saying, like the holistic approach and cultivating that culture of growth mindset, maybe having posters ready for our teachers that have those statements, like I will do it again, or I will practice more, or I will be more careful next time. Those sentences that our students could kind of like could repeat and review and go over, so that it's kind of like embedded, and it's not like we practice it on a daily basis.
Great. Tim has a question from West Valley. Tim?
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment about what Bob was talking about a few minutes ago, and how where he talked about mantras, and Liz and Gabby and I saw this as this is a real effort to get our students thinking positive, in practicing positivity every day. And I think that's important for our students so they continue on and achieve their goals.
Okay, listen, guys, all great ideas. And you know what? Those mantras, what if a student walked into the ESL office and saw, I can learn, I can develop new skills, challenges and opportunities. I'm not afraid to try, I'm optimistic. I can ask for help. I'll practice, So they see it in the ESL office, they see it in every classroom, right? So listen, we have one more presenter, and that's Gun Hate, who's going to talk to you about the Schoology version of this course. Okay, Gun Hate, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, share the screen. Okay.
Okay. Am I sharing?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, I'm going to talk about Schoology. So basically, Schoology course is from the paper version. So when you can expect to be when it comes to content, pretty much the same, but there are a little bit of difference because of they are in different format. Okay. So let me here. So that's the difference. In the paper version, you're gonna see a QR code or 2 video and audios. But in Schoology, students can directly play the videos and audios from there. You can see here your paper version. So the ones you see on the left is gonna be a paper version, and the one on the right is the Schoology version. So you can see QR code, and here's just a video you can just click. Next one is a question format. So we had to adapt some questions to a different format because sometimes the format is not available, or sometimes it could be more interactive in Schoology format. So if you see the examples in this growth mindset versus fixed mindset, students are asked to fill in the column with the correct mindsets, but we transfer it to drop down format, so they can easily just click growth mindset or fixed mindset. Here, students are asked to write a sentence in a line, but we transfer it to a drag and drop format so they can just click and put the words in the right order. Another example is going to be growth mindset statement. So in the paper version, we give them a sentences and have them circle, choose the 4 sentences that shows growth mindset. But here in Schoology, students are asked to highlight the sentences by clicking on the sentence. So those are some examples how the paper version and the Schoology versions are different. And another difference is that in lower levels lessons, you probably see a few extra lessons added to provide scaffolding. So here is an example. So a lesson about challenges or opportunity, you see a vocabulary, you see a dialogue, but you don't see any lessons about past tense format. So this past tense, the verbs and the past tense, their past tense forms are added as a table, and then we added an extra activity that can practice the present tense and past tense. So the another difference is that in the paper version, you're gonna see usually a white background for cleanness, but in Schoology, we're gonna see a bigger images or colors are added to make it more visible and appealing. So here, this is a paper version of this activity, but in the Schoology, you're gonna see a bigger images and audio here. They can play directly and then edit some colors to make it more visible and distinguish the different sections of the page. And also in Schoology, in the paper version, you're gonna see a customized rubrics for students. And we also use the same rubrics, but we also added days ESS score sheet for teachers in writing activities here. So this is the rubric. You're gonna see a paper version. You're gonna also see the same rubric in the Schoology, but we also added in the writing activity the days student score sheets for teachers to look at it and they click based on the content and then comprehensibility and accuracy. Okay, so then what are the advantages of using the Schoology course? Students gonna have instant access to video and audio. They don't have to have a QR code to access it. Second, some of the lessons are auto-graded. So students gonna get immediate feedback as soon as they submit the lessons. And then they can also try multiple times. And so then to master the content. In a paper version, once you write on it, it's there, the answer is there. But in a Schoology, they can try multiple times to master the skill. Also, they don't have to carry the paper version. Everybody has a phone, they can access the lesson 24/7, not bound by location. And at the same time, students gonna develop and practice their digital literacy skills. And for teachers, they don't need to make any paper copies. And then some of the things I just want to bring to your attention is the scoring system. In the lessons, if the students are asked to write a sentence, we assign 2 points per sentence. And in the multiple, if we're asking to write a multiple sentences or paragraphs, we use 12-point system following the day's writing rubric. And if there's any other multiple choice drop down, it's a 1 point per answer. Now in level 3 to 6, the task 4 is a speaking test. And then this task score need to be added to the Schoology. So we created a simple yes, no question with a task description. So teachers can add a score. For example, so this is Schoology version. They see a prompt and then instructions, but here after they do that, they can answer, did you do the task 4 with your teacher? Yes or no. When they submit this, the teachers can go in and use the rubric and they leave the point in the task, ESL Civic task in Schoology. So that's all for me to present.
Okay, so listen, we only have 1 minute left. Maybe you guys can spare me 3. Um, thank you so much for joining us. Little update: the Schoology was supposed to be set up by today, but Ruben Rodriguez, our blended learning advisor, went to a conference. It was a last minute unexpected, but I talked to him last night, and he and his ITTAs and I will be on setting it up on Monday. So you can request the Schoology course from your ITTAs on Monday. Okay. As far as the PDF and the paper versions, there's so much coordination involved, and a critical person in this last stage of the process is the layout artist. His name is Josh Borja. He's doing a great job putting the icons, the images, the titles, the lessons together on paper and the PDF. He got pulled into a big project for marketing for the division this past week, and he's been out at schools taking photos of our students. So, but he's back today, and we're already working on it, and we're going to have those versions ready for you next week. Okay, I'm going to put them in the WIOA group, and the PPTAs can download them with the order forms and instructions on how to order them. Okay, so next week we're going to be up and running. And listen, I know today we had to go through everything really quickly, but listen, I'm here. You guys have my number, you have my email, you have Bob's contact info. Call us, email us. We'll get on Zoom. If you create a PD for your teachers, let's get on Zoom and look at it together to make sure that you're gonna hit all the points. Okay, so we're here to support you. If you noticed today, it's not just me and Bob presenting, right? Dave's here, Megan Carroll's here, Alejandra Salcedo's here, Carlos Rodriguez is here. This collaboration between PPTAs and ESL pathway advisors don't just involve you guys, it's all of us from central office, okay? And look, we created this together with CASAS, our advisors, a teacher, and a student. Isn't Melissa Escobar awesome? Just think, if we had this, we could have easily just had a Schoology course linking to academic articles and blogs about growth mindset, and to YouTube videos with native speakers talking about their growth mindset. But no, we centered this around our students, right? Melissa was a gateway into this whole concept, and all the exercises were written with aspirations and challenges from our students, right? So just know that we created this with CASAS and our team, and we need you, the advisors. You're the next link in the chain to provide the training to your teachers at your local school, who will then deliver the content, instruction, and assessment to their students. Okay, so let's work together to make sure that this is successful. And I'm here, Bob's here. Reach out to us. We'll meet with you on Zoom, okay, to have a one-on-one discussion, to answer all your questions, okay, to refine your process, okay, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Megan, Alejandra, if you guys would like to say anything else.
Yeah, I just want to say I feel the joy and wellness. It's palatable. I can feel it in our Zoom. And I'm really excited, and thank you so much, everybody, for being part of this.
We know this is not your typical COAAP, and we know there are challenges, right? And listen to what Dave said, right? It's about instruction, going back to instruction to make sure that we perform the instruction for our students, and then success in the task assessments will follow, okay? So don't forget, it's instruction, and let's send that message to our teachers, okay? All right. Bob, would you like to say anything?
No, just well done.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and I hope to hear from you, okay? All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.